we don't need roads.
Kelvin, good to see you again, sir. How are
Good to see
you?
you again, man. I'm
My
good.
man. Do you ever give a bad performance, or are you just going to keep doing better and better every single time I see you?
I appreciate you saying that. I'll take it.
All right, my man. I got 1,000 questions for you, so I'm going to jump into this. I want to talk about playing an instrument for a role, because if an actor plays a basketball player, they kind of need to be able to play basketball. But if an actor plays a pilot, they don't need to be able to land a plane. So as an actor, how do you decide whether or not you need to be able to do the thing that your character does?
Well, basically, it comes down to, is the director going to fire me if I don't do it?
That's a big deciding factor.
It's a big deciding factor. So I think once I talked to Steven and I was like, yo, can we use movie magic and can we get a double? I don't realistically believe that I can execute this. And he was like, I believe you can, and you will. And I was like, okay. And so I took on the challenge, and I was like, if I can't do it on the day, then that's where we end up. But I'm gonna give it my hardest, you know? And that's what I did. I practiced 6 hours a day, 7 days a week for about 5 months. And after set, I would still go home and I would have my violin teacher waiting at me in my apartment, and we would practice for another 2 hours, and you just keep it going and hope for the best.
And it was on the screen, man. It looks like it looks incredible. So you did an amazing job, and as an audience member, I appreciate that. This might be a stupid question. I want to talk about two different characters that you've played, both real people. This one and BB King. Two very different people, lived in very different time periods, but each were brilliant, and each had to overcome obstacles and racism. Each had to continue to prove themselves over and over and over again. Did you find any spiritual connection between the two performances and those two men?
I think at the end of the day, they're both very much business savvy, and they understand the spaces that they're in. I think we might have talked about this with BB. It was like BB understood his business, and Joseph as well. He understood French society. He understood how these plays worked. And being restricted to someone who was not, who did not have full rights, he was able to observe a lot and observe the mistakes of his friends, Marie Antoinette, and the mistakes of the king, and the mistakes of Jean Lee, these other artists, and then say, how do I make this better? You know, Mozart's in the limelight, he's the star, but guess what? I got the gift, and I get to see how people are responding to him, because no one's paying attention to me right now.
Was Joseph's journey and his rise to fame and what he had to overcome and continuing to prove his own talents at all reflective of anything that you've experienced as you rise in Hollywood?
It's a tricky question. I mean, it's actually not that tricky. Yes. I think you're constantly negotiating, like, where do people want to see me? How do they want to see me? How do they, scripts aren't necessarily always built for me. And I have to sometimes come into scripts that are imagined by these wonderful directors that may not look like me, may not come from the same cultural backgrounds as me. And I have to find a way to make it feel true. Because that's my job. I'm supposed to convey the truth. And my truth is sometimes different from the imagination of that person that is not from my background. So I think in Joseph's element as well, he's trying to figure out how to bring himself forward into a society that is very white.
Yeah, it's true. Kelvin, I tell you this every single time we talk, man, and I'm going to continue to tell you until you tell me to stop, but you're genuinely one of the best actors working today. I always love every time I get to watch one of your new performances and get to talk to you for it. So I appreciate you always making sure I'm on your schedule and fit me in, or whoever on your team does. I just want you to know I appreciate you, and I always love talking with you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I almost told you to stop, but you know what? It felt good, so I'm going to say thank you.
All right. Well, at least I'll do one more. I'll at least do one more.
No. This next time. Save it.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
You too.
Just leaving, seriously, this is such an honor to meet you. I'm such a huge fan. So seriously, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. My husband's from Chicago. So.
Oh, when was the last time you guys were here?
Thanksgiving.
Oh my! And you didn't call?
And I didn't call. I'm so sorry.
It's hard not to take that personally.
So
next time you guys come through, let me know.
Okay,
I'm going to jump into this. At this point in your career, you've performed in so many different periods of history, which I find fascinating. This one and the early silent film era of Hollywood, and obviously modern day. And I feel like I guess I'm curious. Is it easier to lose yourself in a character in the past or in a modern day setting, or does the era of history affect your performance at all?
I think they're both challenging in a way. It depends on the script and the director, and I was really blessed for Chevalier that Stephanie and Steven were fantastic to work with and were so generous with their time and ideas. And Stephanie's script was just wonderful that I didn't have to do that much research.
I was kind of amazed at just like how I'm trying to think how to phrase it. It's like how fast, like it has like the pace of almost like an action film. Like it's just
Yeah.
like the duels are just like absolutely incredible. I want to talk about, I guess, what a costume has the power to do for you. I honestly genuinely think that the wedding dress in Ready or Not is one of the most iconic pieces of like fashion in like cinema in like the last 20 years. And obviously the dresses here are absolutely insane. How much of your performance of any given character is tied to what they're wearing, if at all?
I find wardrobe really important. I think what a character wears externally really dictates what they're going through internally, because I think that's real to most people. And with Chevalier, Oliver Garcia, the wardrobe designer, was fabulous and made everyone look so decadent and lavish. And he's really authentic. So the corsets I wore were real corsets from that period of time. And just how restrictive they were, and the fact that I had to rely on someone else to get dressed, and I had to ask someone if I needed to use the restroom, and to eat I would have to have someone to take it off and put it back on again. So how oppressed I felt really really inspired that character and helped me get into the mindset of her.
You are phenomenal in absolutely everything you do. And seriously, I've always wanted to meet you and talk with you. And please, if you guys ever come to Chicago, like dinner and drinks on me. Would love to meet you.
Oh my
you and your husband
gosh.
in person.
Okay. I would say no
seriously.
to a free meal.
Excellent. Well, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right. Lucy, good to see you again. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. You are phenomenal in this, as you are in everything. So seriously, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to talk about what an incredible voice you have and how you put it in your performances. And I'm sort of curious, when an actor plays a character who has to sing, if you think singing should actually be a requirement for that actor. Because, if you play a basketball player, you're required to play basketball. If you play a pilot, you're not necessarily required to know how to land a plane. So, like, how much should singing be a requirement if you're going to play someone who can sing?
Oh, man. I don't know. I think it's totally dependent on the role and the context. I think that's part of one of the fundamental reasons I love this job, that every new job offers the opportunity to pick up a new skill or kind of like this film, it's a kind of behind the scenes history lesson. So you get so much opportunity to learn and grow from it. So I don't know, I guess it's personal to each actor.
You were talking about history lessons, and I was wondering, this might be a stupid question, but I was wondering if you could compare acting in this world to the world that you immersed yourself in for Bohemian Rhapsody, because both focused on men who kind of had to overcome prejudice in their own ways, both beyond talented, but it was sort of in a time that they had to rise above things. Do you see any kind of spiritual connection between your experience on this film and your experience on Bohemian Rhapsody?
That's really interesting. I think in the sense that when you're playing a real person, there's obviously going to be so much to try and cram into a 90-minute movie, and it's kind of impossible to do so. So in both iterations, there were so many different versions of that person, that character that we could all have offered, and so ultimately, I think you just hope in this position that it encourages audiences to go out and continue the research and continue their relationship with these people.
You mentioned different versions, and the character of the real person, obviously Marie Antoinette, has been played by different actresses over time in different projects. So because of that, we've seen different interpretations of her. What is a character that you've played over your career that you would love over the next 50 years to watch different actresses take her on, to see different versions of her?
Oh God, I don't know. I think I feel weirdly like protective of my characters, or like, yeah, I might have a hard time sharing. I guess, you know what, this character, Marie Antoinette, is a good example of one, because there are so many different versions of her. She had such a kind of strange and specific life. And I think we've only just started to kind of, actually, maybe we don't need more of her. Let's say Joseph then. Let's go down the route of Joseph. That's not my role, but I think it'd be way more interesting to investigate his life much more. That's
fair. Okay, well, I'm going to ask end on a strange question, because you were talking about Marie Antoinette. I want you to imagine you could sit in a movie theater with her and watch this film. And then when it's over, you lean over and go, what did you think about how I did this? What is the aspect of your performance you'd love to get her thoughts on?
Oh God. I don't know. I don't know that I'd be asking her opinion on much of it. I guess if I'm going to be serious about it, I would just be intrigued by the real life context of it all. But yeah, I don't know that I'm asking for a review from her on this one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I'll give you a review, which is that you are phenomenal, and
Thank
you
you.
make my job easy by always picking incredible projects, which it makes it easy for me to come up with
Thank
questions
you
for. So
so
thank you for always
much.
being so great. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
All right, take care. Bye, guys.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.